I'm Luke the Cooking Camper, along with Zena the Glamper Camper, and we are doing a really fun YouTube Live today. We're headed off back to the home state of Iowa tomorrow, and it is Zena's great-grandmother's birthday. So, we are going to be building her a beautiful little planter here. Now, we got this planter at Home Goods. You guys, if you ever need a pot, go to Home Goods. They have the coolest, most beautiful pots, planters, every imaginable style. The only thing that is so frustrating, you guys, is you know how many pots and planters are sold without a drainage hole? I feel like the odds of you doing a planting situation where you don't need a drainage hole is a lot lower than the times that you would need a drainage hole. But whatevs. So we got this beautiful one here. This was only $9.99 for this huge, I mean, it's not huge, but for only $9.99, it's huge. So Zena's great-grandma's favorite flower, at least that I know of, are geraniums. So you guys, we're packing this thing full. We have 3, I'm calling them rare because I have never seen these varieties of geraniums. This variety, absolutely stunning blooms. It's red in the center and then a beautiful pink on the edges. This is the Geranium Calicope Crimson Flame. Then, look at this geranium. Have you ever seen anything that looks like that? This is a Martha Washington geranium. Never heard of such a thing. The foliage is really, really interesting. It has a lot more sharp edges on the leaves than a typical geranium. And the blooms are so interesting. Deep red, pink, and white, all kind of swirled together into one bloom. And then the last geranium we have is a Brocade Fire Night geranium. So this one has a beautiful orangey salmon, just solid color bloom. But the foliage on this one has that like deep kind of super dark burgundy red variegation. So you might be thinking, Luke, how are you going to fit those? Plus we have 3 different kinds of petunias in this pot. Well, they are actually pretty wobbly, and that tells me that their roots aren't like super crazy on the inside, okay? So we've got some moisture control Miracle-Gro here. We are just going to put like a handful of this into the bottom just so the root balls aren't going to be directly on the terracotta or the concrete or whatever this material is. Now, you may ask why you're doing this inside. Well, it's a little toasty outside. Why I'm doing it on this is because we already packed up our little personal vacuum thing in the camper. So what I'm going to do first, with Zena as my little helper, is I am literally just going to try to get most of the dirt off of these root balls, especially if they're not like super like attached. Like you can see this one. Look at all of that dirt is in there. And this, just kind of gently. Obviously, you don't want to totally murder the roots. But these roots, they're long, but they're not really, or it didn't seem like they were. Sometimes plants just come out so strange. Okie dokie. So, you can see all of that extra dirt in there was not actually attached or worked into the roots. So, that is going to be how I'm going to be able to fit all of these plants in this container. So far, that is the first one. Let's do it with the second one. Now, since I am giving these, since me and Zena and Mr. Cameraman are giving these flowers as a gift, this one has a lot more of a substantial root ball. You can see all of the roots down here, all the way down to the bottom of the container, and none of the dirt is just coming off if you tried to pop this plant right out of the can. But I am going to Try to get this dirt off. Most plants, in my experience, are very, very forgiving with the root ball. Now, if I were to plant these outside, like in the ground, generally I would not want to manhandle plants so much. But from my experience in container gardening is that a lot of plants do not mind if you totally obliterate their roots. As long as you're giving them water, giving them the ingredients they need to survive. Now this one did have a number of little toasted up spots. So let me pull out those little leaves really fast. Now we are actually taking this all the way to Iowa. So right now we are in Surprise, Arizona. So we'll see. I have taken plants back and forth before. Hasn't been too big of a deal. I wasn't going to actually plant this in Arizona. I just was going to get the pot. But I contacted my little brother today. And he's like, yeah, you can't buy plants here yet. Everything is not really open and selling for plants yet. So that's what me and Zena have been picking out all morning. So again, if you're just joining us, we have a Martha Washington geranium, which is this beautiful, super, super interesting leaf structure. And then that beautiful little, almost like a velvety look swirled together. And then we've got this nice coral geranium, and it has that beautiful foliage. This is the Brocade Fire Night geranium. That was my ham radio. I'm going to turn that down really fast. I forgot it was turned on. I got my new call sign today for ham radio, you guys. Zena is literally the star of my life. So my call sign is W7ZNA. So it's supposed to look like W/ZNA, Zena, with Zena. So now we're going to obliterate the root ball on our last geranium. This is the Geranium Calicope Crimson Flame. Now I got this one at Home Depot. Everything else came from Lowe's. And this one again. So really the Martha Washington, that was the one with the least amount of roots. Now we're just going to remove most of this soil. I got this tarp to keep the mess down, and I'm literally working right in the corner of the tarp. You can see a lot of the roots are staying attached. I'm just trying to get a lot of the soil off of the roots. When you're jamming so many plants into one container, you definitely want their root balls to be as small and as malleable as possible. Again, with container gardening, I have not had a plant that got too unhappy if I did this to the roots. I don't know. Now, gardening outside, I really don't think that you should beat up the roots that much. At least I definitely don't. Just because I think plants are a lot less protected outside. You don't have the protection and the weather and the climate of being inside. So again, there's just a couple little ugly leaves, little brown spots. I'm just going to pluck those off. And now we will be able to get all three of these beautiful geraniums in this container. So I think I'm going to need a little bit more soil, so I'll just add some of this that came out of the pot. Take out those bad leaves though. Then we'll take some of this one. And see, even going through this Martha Washington one, there's like no roots down in here. It's just soil. So I think that's kind of interesting. Like I said, I've never seen any of these varieties of geraniums before. So now I'm just going to lean that one right on the edge for a second. Me and Xena just want to thank any of you guys that are watching, and we're just really, really appreciative that we get to make kind of fun, kind of random videos for you guys. If you like this one, definitely. And look at those roots, you guys. There's like none. Definitely make sure to give us a big thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more of these. I did just notice a number of other leaves right there. One thing to note when you do manhandle roots as much as this, just be aware that if you're doing this, you really do want to pack the container, just because, I mean, there's not really a huge root ball holding all of them in. Hello, Oren. I know, isn't that Martha one beautiful? It's got like really funky looking velvety blooms in the leaves. I mean, if you look at the leaves on the Martha and then you look at the leaves on this one, the Martha's leaves are a lot sharper, pointier almost. Okay, you guys, look at how pretty all of those look. I am loving this. But before we start jamming all those in there, since all of this is basically just one hole, I'll show you guys the petunias we got. Now this, it's just the petunia. Actually, this one doesn't even say. The other ones, or at least one of them, am I crazy? Yeah, so now oh yes, right here. So this is the Ann Petunia Madness mix. So I really wanted 3 totally different bloom colors. So we have that really, really pretty purple. That's almost like a pinky purple. Then we have just a plain white roughly. And then we have a stunning deep purple and white stripe. So, Xena, sujetio por favor, mi amiga. We are just going to take these out also, just so I have everything already at once. These things have some roots, and from my experience also, I don't know, they're going to be on a balcony, on like in a condo building. They're going to be on like a balcony, so they will have sun, but it won't be as full sun as like if there wasn't another balcony on top of you. But petunias, you guys, they go nuts. They grow like crazy in pretty much any conditions you put them in my experience. So let's just get some of this dirt out of the way to be as clean as possible. Now we'll bring, oh, Xena, we're not being clean, are we? We're making a mess. So this is what our petunias look like. And now in between each set, or in between each one, we're going to put one of the petunias in between each one of the geraniums. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. So, I know I've got a lot of soil left over in those containers. But for this particular birthday girl, I'd like this to be as little thought as possible. So I got this moisture control potting mix, so she won't have to be... hopefully, it'll make it a little bit easier to monitor the soil water resistance, or whatever you want to call it. So, I think this is going to be, at first I was thinking all 3 of these jammed in the center, but I think it's literally just going to be alternating. So I just got the Martha Rose packed in there, and now next to her, I really kind of want... let's do this guy. So this is one of just the assorted petunias. So we're just going to go in right next to her. And we're just gonna squish her down in there. Oh my goodness, you guys, that looks so beautiful. Now we will turn our arrangement a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Now we've got our next geranium. And I feel like I've got... maybe I should put a little bit more soil underneath it. We're just going to grab a little handful. Tuck it under the root ball. Make sure there's no air gaps. And obviously, an arrangement this tight, I mean, these plants can't live in here forever, ever. But, I mean, all of these are annuals. Annuals do pretty good, in my experience, in really tight, packed-in environments. So I've got that geranium in there. So now we're just going to use some of this moisture control potting mix around the back side. Just because, like I said, when you manhandle the root balls so much, there's not tons of roots to be holding the plant up. So now, here is that beautiful one. I wish I could remember the names of these, but I can't. So the one you're looking at right now is the Calicope Crimson Flame. Now I think I want... This is what I can't decide, because the white is pretty similar to, or it has the same color in it as the Washington. So I didn't want a white directly next to the Washington, but I just realized both of these are white. So I think we'll put the white with the purple next to the Washington, and then we'll put the plain white on this side. And this isn't even just like a super plain white petunia. It does have the really pretty ruffled petals. Like I said, it's just part of that mix. I wish I knew the exact varieties of the petunias, but I don't. Life will move on, however. Make sure that's really packed down in there. And then we can move on to the next geranium. You guys, I am absolutely loving how this looks. And really, I mean, I don't even think it looks overfilled, I guess you could say. I think it is the perfect amount of plants for this pot. Let's take out some of this soil under the white petunia, just because when she waters it, I don't want the water to come out over the sides of the arrangement. So now we'll stick up this geranium. Grab some more soil. Now this family member, most of their house is black and white. Very, very stunning, beautiful condo. So I wanted the pot to be either black or white, but the plants, I mean, they can be pretty much anything. I have planted, they have many pots. I have planted them before, and before I've just done a mix of plants. But I really thought it would be fun to do just a variety of wild, colored, and patterned geraniums. Now, I don't really know what you guys consider rare, but I've never seen these before. I've seen the petunias before, but I have never seen these particular geraniums. So I've got that one packed in. So now I'm going to turn it this way just so I'm looking directly at it for this last petunia. This is the purple with the stripes one. And there's not tons of room in there, so I will break off some of these roots. Now, all of these petunias, I believe, both of the purple shades, they're already starting to trail. The white one, I'm not sure. I hope it's a trailing variety, but as of right now, it does slightly look like just a mound. So we will see, but the idea is that the petunias would trail out and around this arrangement. And you guys, Zena, we got dots everywhere. I think we are done. I see a little bit of a gap right here where I'm going to pack in this moisture control soil. You do want to make sure that you don't have air gaps, air pockets. According to the worldwide interwebs, plants do not like air pockets. And don't be like me and just cover your one petunia in soil. And then, really, this arrangement, after it's finished, I mean, it's not even really about having a centerpiece. The entire thing is a centerpiece. So right now, actually, there's not a hole, but there is an empty space in the center of the arrangement. I don't think it really matters because the plants are going to fill in. in towards the middle and towards the outside. So again, I'm just packing in soil. I don't want these, even though they don't have tons of roots, I don't want them to be nearly as loose and wobbly as they were in the nursery containers. Like I said, we are taking this across the country, so they need to be as tight and secured in there as possible. So, Xena, you can go if you want. You can go away. Yeah, go on, go on, go on. Xena has spent the whole day with me shopping for this arrangement. Let me try to get some of the soil off of me. The tarp is working nicely if you ever want to put together an arrangement inside of your house. Okay, you guys, we are done, I think. I think it looks absolutely stunning. I love that mix of flowers, all of those colors. We have the coral, we have the hot pink with the deep red, then we have this beautiful velvety, super dark red with the creamy pinky white. We've got two purples, and then we've got a frilly white. I really absolutely love this arrangement. I think it turned out great. I think it's the perfect amount of flowers for this arrangement. So now I'm probably just gonna clean up around the edges and then clean up this mess I've made here. So thank you very much for watching. Dear God, thank you so much for allowing me and Xena to do fun little projects like this. Amen. Okie dokie, thank you very much. If you liked this video, make sure to give us a big thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit that bell so that you never miss the next time me and Xena make a super cool flower arrangement or film another one of our totally random crazy videos. Get out and enjoy what God has given us, and get out and enjoy nature and food as much as we do. Have a great one. Bye. I said bye, but I can't turn you off yet. Adios.